Welcome back to Streaming Media West 2018. I'm Tim Siglin, contributing editor with Streaming Media Magazine and the founding executive director of the not-for-profit Help Me Stream. I literally just walked in just prior to this, and Michael, if I understand, you also flew in this morning.
Flew in this morning.
So Michael Dale, Ellation, first of all, tell us what your title and role is with the company, and then where did the name come from?
Sure. So I'm VP Engineering, work very closely with product and business groups around basically a few different areas of subscription and AVOD-based business. Ellation, the name of the company, I believe it came from Peter. So we originally were Crunchyroll, as you may have heard of.
Right.
That's been around for about 10 years,
right.
A little bit over 10 years. And they when they took some funding from a joint venture of Peter Chernin and AT&T, they retitled it as Ellation. I think it had to do with sort of like iceberg, some part of the ice that comes up from the water, and the Ellation is like the larger iceberg underneath or something.
And of course you couldn't
or the mountains.
You couldn't use Elation because that was already taken.
Right.
So
and
it's
I guess we have
Elation.
Yeah, we have the pun of elated. Or,
exactly, and happy. So as you say, Crunchyroll's been around for about 10 years. What's new now with Ellation to sort of change the focus, or is the focus the same?
So I think both with Ellation and the AT&T Warner Media acquisition of Otter Media, which is the parent group that owns Ellation, I think we've really seen sort of Crunchyroll scaling up quite a bit, and likewise the Verve product, sort of the multi-channel offering, also starting to have a significant impact on our overall subscriber count. We recently crossed 2 million paid subscribers. Putting us well within the top 10, or at least it used to be the top 10, I guess, with these virtual MVPDs. It's a little muddying the waters a little bit in terms of what's pay TV and what's OTT nowadays.
True.
But in any case, as a pure OTT play, we're certainly in the top 10 by subscribers.
And for you, being in that top 10 grouping, especially with your engineering focus, what are the challenges that you face? Because clearly when you get into that level of the stratosphere or exosphere in terms of the number of subscribers you're delivering to, everything has to work perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're dealing with many more than 1 billion minutes per month streamed. So this is quite a so not only the 2 million subscribers, but also the 10 to 15 million monthly actives that are on the AVOD side of the business. So it is a fairly massive scale project. I mean, we've transitioned. A lot of the engineering concerns were sort of traditional concerns around taking the data center based monolith and transitioning it to AWS and microservices and those sort of things that we've seen a few talks about here at the show today. And that's certainly been a challenge relative to the just sort of changing the engine as the plane's in flight, as they say. With the fact that we had to continue to serve our users, through this whole duration. Yeah.
So when you're talking microservices, I know there's also a sort of a debate in the industry too of, is it, if you're taking the monolith and just shoving it in a Kubernetes container, that's not a microservice. How do you sort of define microservices? Because I think that's a hot topic these days.
Sure. So I think microservices are more than just the sort of the logical code service grouping. It's also about autonomy of the team, right? Like so that they can deliver value without sort of being blocked on the rest of the organization. In the context of the lift and ship approach that we took with the monolith, just to get it out of the data center. So we don't call that side of our tech stack microservice based. We have been building out microservices from the ground up relative to the Verve product launch, and now we're sort of in a process of consolidating against sort of multi-tenant based microservice architecture.
Interesting. And then in terms of, as you talk about not being sort of slowed down by the other groups, does that help you roll out enhancements and features faster in any
definitely. Yeah, I think so. You can see things like in the old model, the encode, like we literally, like in the monolith, you had very poor. I don't want to throw anybody in the bus, but there was a not ideal architecture that was in place.
Less than ideal.
Less than ideal. So I'll give you an example. I mean, basically, it was like hitting a database to look up the segment names,
sure,
like for HLS stream, and that was just pretty much recipe for disaster as the database would get under load as more people just tried to watch video. Simple things like that, where that's all now decoupled. So when a lot of people watch video, you don't take down your login service.
No,
so on and so
forth. That's actually a really interesting point. Sort of that single point of failure if the database is trying to handle both transactions, authentications, and, as you say, segments.
Right.
For
you'll hear, like, I'm sure if you've chatted with other companies that sort of scale up and they're dealing with like Game of Thrones or some massive cultural event, and what the video usually kind of works because the CDNs are sort of offloading that.
Yep.
But then something will be like the playhead position service will take down your auth service if you don't have it segmented. So and ability to sort of scale it appropriately relative to the surge in demand.
As a matter of fact, I've written articles in the past about, for live events, say a big boxing match, it's never the video delivery, it's always the authentication on the front end.
Right.
But if that fails, the customer can't watch the video, and the same net effect is they want their money back from that.
Right.
So.
Right.
Awesome. Michael, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. And we'll be right back.